This learning object is a production of Abu Dhabi Men's College, Center of Excellence for ICT and Learning Technology.
In this session, we are going to create a simple form using Oracle Developer, and then we run it later on. So by the end of this session, you should be able to create a simple Oracle form and run it. So the way to do it is like this. First of all, I select the Oracle Start, and then Programs. We select Oracle Developer Suite. By the way, we use the 9i version, and then Form Developer. And after that, okay, I click on the Forms Builder. The Form Developer will start shortly. Okay, because this is a new form, all right? So the Object Navigator tool will be displayed. Okay, the Object Navigator tool display in a hierarchical way, okay, all the objects that we need to create a form. So in the beginning, what we have to do to create a data block. A data block is simply a buffer that holds all the columns of a table in a database. So the way to create it is I select the data block, and then I click on the Create icon. A new data block window appears, which has got two options. Either we create a data block using a wizard, or we can use a manual procedure to create a data block. But in the beginning, we are going to use the wizard because it's easy. So I click on OK, and then the data block wizard starts. We have two options, okay, in order to create a data block. Either we use a table or stored procedure. In the beginning, we are going to use a table. I click on Next. All right. In a database, usually has got more than one table. In order to display them and select a table, so I click on the Browse button here. Because this is the first time I'm creating a form, okay, so the Oracle doesn't allow me to access the database unless I enter a user ID and a password. So I am going to type, okay, a user ID and password. The default one is Scott Tiger. So I am going to type Scott as a username and Tiger as a password, and then the database string. So I click on Connect. Okay, now I have been successfully connected to the database. All the tables that I can access have been displayed for me. So I select one table. For example, I'm going to select the student table. Click on OK. The student table appears, and all the columns of that table are displayed on the left pane. So I have the option either to select individual column, or I can select all of them to be included in the data block. So here I will select all of them in the data block. So I click on Next. The data block has got a name, which is exactly the same name as the table, so we leave it as it is. So I click on Next. Now we finish from the data block wizard, so we are going to run the layout wizard. Layout wizard is simply to display all these columns, okay, on a canvas inside a window. So I click on Next. Now, regarding the canvas, there are more than one type of canvases. The default one is the content, which is the normal one, but there are others like stacked, vertical, toolbar, horizontal, and tab. Okay, we are going to explain this later on. But in this session, we are going to concentrate on the content, okay, a canvas. So click on Next. Okay, here we are going to display the columns that are already in the data blocks. So either we display all of them or individual columns. In this session, we are going to display all of them. Next. Okay, here in this window, I can change the label of each column, but we leave it as it is because later on we can change the label, okay, the way we like it. So next. The layout style of the form, there are two types. Either form, which is the default one, it means that I display one record at a time in a column format, or tabular. Tabular, it means that I wish to display more than one record in a spreadsheet or a table format. Okay, so here in this session we are going to use the form layout. So I click on next. These columns will be displayed inside a frame, okay, and the frame has got a title, so we can type anything in the title. For example, here I am going to type student record, okay, as a frame title. Regarding the record display, by default it is one record at a time, but I can display more than one record. For example, if I go back to the previous window, okay, if I select tabular, it means that I want to display more than one record at a time. And if I select tabular, I have to specify how many records that I want to display. Okay, the distance between records, it means that what is the gap you want to leave between these records. By default it is 0, there is no gap, but you can leave a gap. The check box display scroll bar, this one is useful if you have more than number of records that you want to display in a table. So you can scroll up and down to display the rest of records. But in our case, okay, we don't need it because we are going in a form layout. We are going to display only one record at a time. So I click on the next button. Okay, we finish from this one. So this is the layout. Okay, you can see that, okay, all these columns are displayed, okay, in a canvas. Okay, and this one is the frame, and this, the student record, is the title of the frame. So before we run it, we have to save it. So I click on the save button to save it in a specific folder. I can give it any reasonable name to the form. Click on save it, it will be saved. So now I can run it. Before I run it, I have to, because this is web enabled form, okay, I have to run a program called the listener. Okay, in order to run the listener, so I click on the start button, programs, Oracle developer, form builder, okay, and then start the instance. So a DOS screen is displayed, and it will tell me that this program has been initialized. Okay, so I minimize it, don't close it, but minimize it. Okay, and then I click on the run button in the toolbar. What will happen? The Internet Explorer will be launched, and it will create an applet for me, and that form will be displayed inside the applet. Okay, initially it is a blank form, there is nothing. So what we have to do, in the toolbar, I click on the execute query in order to display the first record in the table. So I click on the execute query, so the first record is displayed. Now, if I want to navigate to the next record, or a previous record, I use the navigating buttons here. Okay, this one to display the next record, next record, next record. I can go back to the previous record the way I like it. Okay, once I finish from this one, I have to close it. In order to close it, first of all, I have to exit from the applet. Okay, this is the best way to do it. The way to do it is that I select the action menu item, and then I click on exit. So the form is closed inside the applet, and then after that I close the Internet Explorer. Here I am going back to the editor. I can modify it, I can do whatever I like, okay, in order to enhance the appearance of the form. Once I finish from this, okay, from the form, I'm happy about it, so I close it. Okay, once I close it, it will be closed, and if I want to open it again or create a new form, I can do it the way I like it. Once I finish from the session, I can close the forms builder, and then we start another session later on.